At 7 o'clock, we got West Virginia, which went 6-7 last year, traveling to number 17 Pitt, which went 11-3 last year. Pitt favored by 7 points on ESPN. I know what you're thinking. It shouldn't be that close of a game, but these are two very different teams than they were last year, mainly because of the transfers. And people graduating, obviously, and heading for the NFL. West Virginia's biggest addition in, I want to say free agency, but transfer portal, JT Daniels. He was a quarterback that was supposed to go #1 overall. Just like if you go back a year from now, people are talking about JT Daniels as one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. He was projected #1 pick by a lot of people, me included. I thought he was really, really great. He gets hurt in the first game against Clemson, and then just the fact that Stetson Bennett was winning football games, they don't want to upset that rhythm, so they just keep JT Daniels on the bench. But he's a really great quarterback, guys. This West Virginia Mountaineers have a good chance of winning this one simply because of their quarterback. I mean, JT Daniels is a phenomenal player. Tony Mathis Jr. had 72 carries for 312 yards last year. Bryce Ford Wheaton had 42 catches for 575 yards and 3 touchdowns. Pitt, on the other hand, it's another story about transfers and people graduating. Obviously, the heart and soul of the Pitt team last year that went at 11-2 and won the ACC championship game was obviously Kenny Pickett. It was no question Kenny Pickett was the heart and soul of that football team. And he was the person who almost led them to a playoff spot, maybe. It was close. If he doesn't lose a weird game against Western Michigan, which in hindsight is a really weird loss that probably should not have happened. But if he doesn't lose that game, Kenny Pickett likely could possibly lead the Pitt Panthers to a playoff spot, which would have been insane to think about, but a playoffs that could have included the Oklahoma State Cowboys, the Pitt Panthers, and the Cincinnati Bearcats was a possibility. And it was a crazy one, but it was a possibility here. And it would have been weird, but it was a possibility. The transfer that I'm talking about now, though, is they bring in Caden Slovis. Caden Slovis was another quarterback that had a possibility of going first round last year. He didn't end up going first round. He ends up getting benched at USC. But USC has a tough year last year. He transfers to Pitt, which suddenly sees the amount of success go up. And it's actually a really interesting combination. Caden Slovis went 193-297 last year, threw for 2,153 yards, and 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for a 65% completion percentage. Remember, Caden Slovis did not start the entire year, so 2,153 yards not starting for a large portion of the year, or at least a significant portion of the year, is an impressive feat all by itself. Obviously, the interceptions have to go down and the touchdowns have to go up, but this is an impressive addition. They also returned their running back, Israel Abanikanda.
That you could.
Sorry, it's a hard last name. 123 carries for 651 yards last year and 7 touchdowns. Now, the important thing to note here is also the receiving core. I was going to mention Jordan Addison, but he actually transferred to USC. Jordan Addison was a guy that was one of the best receivers in the entire college football last year. They lose him, which is why I'm saying transfer portal is a huge aspect of this game. Jared Wayne is their new leading receiver. Had 47 catches for 650 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. These teams have actually played a lot. We're talking about like 101 total games between the two teams. Pitt has kind of dominated the series. They're winning 61-40 so far, but the last 3 have gone to West Virginia. Last time these two teams played was in 2016. So we're getting a rivalry game that has been dead for at least 6 years here, and we're getting it back. So that's actually really cool. I think this has the possibility of being the best game of the day. I'm going to say it. West Virginia was a team that was not very good last year. I'll say that. They were a team that was very disappointing. But West Virginia did get a big quarterback in JT Daniels, and he single-handedly could lead a team to victory here. Now, I'm going to go Pitt, and I'll tell you why. Just like the reason why I should have picked Northwestern last week and I picked Nebraska instead. The fact is, new quarterbacks have an adjustment period. I understand both these quarterbacks are new. They're both new to the system, which makes this actually a really interesting matchup. But this Pitt team is a much stronger overall team than the West Virginia team. And the fact is, as well as Casey Thompson played last week for Nebraska, I'm learning my lesson. He still had major mistakes that he made. And the fact is because he was not used to the offense that was around him. This was like a brand new offense to him. And he made a significant mistake down the stretch that really cost them the game. So I understand both brand new quarterbacks, but I feel like there's continuity on both sides, obviously. But I feel like there's a lot more continuity on Pitt's side that's like good continuity, obviously. Like, we don't want bad continuity. We don't want a continuity that resulted in a 6-7 season last year. We want good continuity. That's why I'm going to go with Pitt. But I think it's a close game. I'm going to go with it. West Virginia covers here, although I'm not exactly super confident in that one.